Most RV owners aren't looking for perfection. They just want an RV that doesn't ruin trips with constant repairs. The problem is, reliable RV is a messy topic because an RV isn't one product. It's a drivetrain plus a full home system built on top of it. So instead of vague claims, this video focuses on what actually predicts fewer breakdowns in the real world. Brands that stay consistent year to year, use proven platforms, and have strong parts and warranty support when something does happen. In the next minutes, we'll go through 6 RVs that are widely seen as low-drama choices, picked for practical reasons, not hype. Number 1. Airstream. A lot of videos online talk like Consumer Reports just dropped a fresh 6 most reliable RVs list. The catch is that Consumer Reports is famous for rating cars, but RVs don't fit that same testing style because you're not buying one machine. You're buying a machine plus a small house that's been built by a manufacturer and a long chain of suppliers. So the practical move is to use the best signals the RV world actually publishes. Dealer satisfaction scores that include reliability and warranty support, plus the way the used market prices certain brands over time. Those aren't perfect measurements, but they're real, and they're better than guessing. One of the strongest recurring signals is the RV Dealers Association Dealer Satisfaction Index and the Quality Circle Awards, because dealers rate brands on things that directly affect whether owners stay on the road or get stuck waiting. Reliability and quality, parts support, warranty support, and sales support. It's not a scientific lab test, but it is structured feedback, and the winners are brands that clear a high bar in dealer ratings. When you filter for brands that keep showing up there, Airstream is hard to ignore. Airstream makes both towables and some motorized models, and it has been recognized in dealer satisfaction awards.
It also tends to hold value well, which usually means buyers believe the build, support, and long-term ownership story will be less stressful. The big reliability takeaway with Airstream is consistency. The shapes don't change every year. The layout choices are usually more conservative than trend-chasing brands. And the whole product is built around a sealed shell where water intrusion is the thing you never want. Water damage is still the #1 mood killer in RV ownership, so a brand that treats sealing and structure seriously is already starting in the right place. That said, Airstream doesn't magically cancel maintenance. If you want one that stays out of the shop, focus on simplicity. Fewer slide-outs, fewer aftermarket add-ons, and a weight setup that stays comfortably under the trailer's ratings. Then, stay disciplined with the boring tasks. Inspect seals, keep the roof clean, and fix tiny leaks before they become big ones. If you do that, the usual Airstream experience is less about surprise failures and more about predictable upkeep, which is exactly what most people mean when they say it barely breaks down. From here, it makes sense to look at a brand that's more mainstream in price and floor plans, but still shows up strong on support. Jayco. Number 2. Jayco. Jayco is interesting because it's not just a niche luxury pick. It's a big, mainstream builder that still shows up in lists tied to dealer satisfaction and resale value. In dealer satisfaction results, Jayco has been recognized among the brands dealers rate highly. And that matters because dealers live in the real world of warranty claims, parts delays, and customers who need answers fast. Reliability isn't only about how the RV is assembled. It's also about whether the manufacturer supports the product when something inevitably needs attention. Jayco also comes up in resale value discussions. And strong resale is usually a sign that real buyers see the brand as a safer bet.
It doesn't mean every unit is flawless. It means the market expects fewer scary surprises like chronic water intrusion, hard-to-find parts, or warranty dead ends. If you want the barely ever breaks down vibe from a Jayco, the same principle applies. Keep the design simple and the workload reasonable. Fewer moving parts usually means fewer problems, especially when you're talking about slide mechanisms, powered stabilizers, auto-level systems, and big, power-hungry electronics. When you're shopping, the best move is to separate issues into two buckets. Bucket 1 is things that stop travel, like tires, brakes, bearings, suspension, and anything that affects towing safety. Bucket 2 is things that stop camping, like water pumps, water heaters, fridges, and the 12-volt system that runs lights and controls. Jayco's advantage is that both buckets are usually serviceable through common dealer networks and parts channels. Your job as the owner is to not let the basics slide. Keep tire pressures correct, service wheel bearings on schedule, test the breakaway brake system, and do regular leak checks around roof penetrations and windows. If you handle those fundamentals, you're setting up the RV so any smaller issues stay small. And that's how a mainstream brand can feel genuinely reliable in day-to-day use. Next up is a name that wins on something people forget to factor in: how easy it is to get help quickly when you're far from home. Number 3, Winnebago. Winnebago makes this list for a different reason: scale and support. It's one of the most recognized RV names, and that size can make ownership easier because more dealers, more technicians, and more parts channels tend to exist for common models. Winnebago also shows up in resale value rankings, which usually means the used market sees it as a safer bet than an unfamiliar brand with limited support. With motorized RVs, reliability is always a two-part story.
Part 1 is the chassis: the engine, transmission, cooling system, steering, brakes, and the stuff a normal automotive shop understands. Part 2 is the coach: the house systems like plumbing, propane, appliances, the 12-volt and 120-volt electrical systems, and everything that was added after the chassis left its original factory. A lot of breakdowns that people talk about aren't actually engine failures. They're coach failures that make the RV unpleasant or unsafe to use, like water leaks, electrical shorts, or slide problems. Winnebago's strength is that it's usually easier to get both parts handled. Chassis service is often available through the vehicle brand's network, and coach service is more likely to be available through a broad RV dealer network because the brand is so common. If you want to lean into that advantage, pick a configuration that stays as close as possible to widely serviced components. That means avoiding one-off systems, sticking with common tire sizes, and not overloading the rig with heavy upgrades that push you close to the vehicle's weight limits. A reliable Winnebago ownership routine looks pretty straightforward. Follow the chassis maintenance schedule like you would for a truck. Keep tires fresh by age and condition, not just tread. And keep the battery system healthy, because a weak battery causes endless, weird electrical behavior in modern RVs. Then, for the coach, do regular seal checks and exercise the systems before a trip: water pump, water heater, fridge on the power mode you actually use, and the AC if you're heading into heat. Doing that turns unexpected breakdown into planned maintenance, and that's the whole goal. If your style is towable RVs rather than motorized, the next brand has been a frequent topic because of how it's rated by dealers and valued in the used market. Number 4. Grand Design.
Grand Design is a popular answer when people ask which towables feel more sorted. And part of that comes down to dealer satisfaction and support. It's been listed among the RVDA Quality Circle Award winners in towables. And it also appears in resale value lists, which is a strong signal that the market thinks these units are easier to live with over time. The smart way to use that information is to treat it as a filter, not a guarantee. If you want fewer breakdown-type failures from any travel trailer or fifth wheel, focus on what tends to fail first. Water intrusion is at the top of that list because it can turn into structural damage and mold if it's ignored. Next is anything with motors and alignment, mainly slide-outs. After that, it's the systems that live under constant vibration, wiring connections, plumbing fittings, and anything mounted to a wall that's flexing on the road. Grand Design's reputation is stronger when you stay disciplined about these weak points. So if you're picking between floor plans, don't just shop on how big the living room feels. Ask yourself how many extra openings, slides, and moving parts you're adding. A simpler floor plan can be the difference between "we camped all season" and "we spent the season in and out of service bays." Support matters too. A brand can build a decent trailer, but if you can't get parts or clear answers when something is wrong, it will feel unreliable no matter what. Grand Design's repeated appearance in dealer satisfaction lists suggests dealers consider it better than average on those support and warranty factors. And that's part of the reliability equation people miss. Pair that with smart ownership, annual roof inspections, keeping sealant in good shape, servicing bearings and brakes, and not towing with empty tires or overloaded axles. And a Grand Design can fit the low-drama profile that most owners are looking for.
Now, if you want to reduce failure points even more, a smaller, motorized segment is worth mentioning because it combines proven vehicle platforms with compact house systems. Number 5. Leisure travel vans. Leisure travel vans, built by EEE, shows up as a top-rated motorized brand in dealer satisfaction awards, and it has a reputation for tight, consistent builds. The reliability advantage here isn't magic. It's the platform and the focus. Most Class B and B+ rigs start with a commercial van chassis that's engineered for daily work and long service intervals. And that chassis already has a broad service network. The RV builder is then adding the living components: wiring, plumbing, cabinetry, tanks. And the best builders treat that part like a systems project. Secure everything, route wiring cleanly, and avoid sloppy shortcuts that turn into rattles, leaks, and electrical gremlins. Class B and B+ rigs also tend to hold value well in general. That's partly because they're easy to drive and park, but it's also because buyers see them as less risky than a huge rig with a lot of complex systems. Some resale value analyses put Class B retention around the 50 to 53% range after 5 years, which is strong in the RV world. What that means in real life is there's steady demand, and steady demand usually happens when owners aren't flooded with horror stories. If you want a leisure travel van setup that barely ever breaks down, pay attention to weight and power systems. Class B rigs can get close to their weight limits quickly once you add water, gear, and passengers. Staying under the rating reduces stress on suspension, brakes, and tires, and those are exactly the things that cause real road breakdowns. On the house side, keep the electrical system healthy. Batteries, connections, and whatever inverter/charger setup the rig uses. A lot of modern RV problems look like mystery failures, but are really low voltage, loose connections, or neglected battery care.
The upside is that when something does need work, you're often dealing with a smaller, more standardized set of components compared to a big trailer. That's why this segment is a consistent reliability play. Another Class B specialist that fits that same logic and has also been recognized by dealers is Pleasureway. Number 6. Pleasureway. Pleasureway has earned high marks in dealer satisfaction awards for motorized RVs, and it lines up with the same reliability logic. Focus on one segment, build consistently, and keep the platform serviceable. With Class B rigs, you're usually dealing with fewer slide-outs, fewer huge exterior openings, and a smaller, simpler water system than you'd see in a big travel trailer or a Class A. That naturally cuts down the number of failure points. Another practical advantage is service access. Because Class B rigs are based on mainstream van platforms, you can usually get the vehicle side serviced without hunting down a specialty RV shop. And that's a big deal when you're traveling. The coach side still needs RV-specific knowledge, but the systems are compact and often easier to troubleshoot because the wiring runs are shorter and the plumbing is simpler. The way to keep a Pleasureway feeling reliable is to treat it like two machines and maintain both. On the van side, follow the regular service schedule and don't ignore small warning signs like coolant smell, odd tire wear, or brake vibration. On the coach side, keep water where it belongs by checking seals and fittings, especially after rough roads. Exercise the systems before a long trip. Run the water pump. Confirm the water heater lights and holds temperature. Test the fridge in the mode you actually use, and make sure the 12-volt system stays stable under load. Most breakdowns in this class are preventable surprises. Tiny leaks, loose connections, and neglected batteries that turn into bigger failures at the worst possible time.
Stay ahead of those, and a well-built Class B like a Pleasureway can be one of the closest things the RV world has to barely ever breaks down.